guys, and welcome to the Betwixt the Books wrap-up for 2015 and our reading goals for 2016 as it comes to this YouTube channel and our collaborations together. If you see me looking to my left here, it's because I have Gretchen over Skype and I'm using a separate camera here, so I'm going to try and stay focused on you, but when she's talking I might look to the left. She's recording on a separate device. We'll see how this works. Overall, I'm sure it'll be great. On top of that, we are going to be making individual videos of our favorite books of the year and what we're going to be doing for our blogs in the coming year. So if you want to hear what each of us is doing individually, I recommend watching those videos as well. But this one will pertain mostly to what we plan on doing together and what we did together in the past year.
So I'm going to start this wrap-up off with how we started the beginning of the year. Literally on January 1st, we opened up with a couple of special winter episodes outside of our regular season of Bibliomancy for Beginners, which is our major YouTube contribution. On January 1st, we did a special episode about The Magicians by Lev Grossman. And then later on that month in January, Michaela and I did a special episode on American Gods by Neil Gaiman. And that was how we opened the Bibliomancy for Beginners season. Woo!
We didn't have anything through the entire spring semester last year, so the next thing that we did was our normal bibliomancy season, which runs every summer. We did things a little differently this year. Instead of doing a book a week, we did a book every 2 weeks, which actually ended up working out a little better, so I think we're going to follow that format again next year. This summer we were focusing on diverse reads, so we tried to focus on translated fiction, authors with different sexual orientations, characters with different sexual orientations, etc. The first pick that we did was my pick. It was 2 a.m. at the Cat's Pajamas by Marie-Helene Bertino. After that, it was Gretchen's pick, An Ember in the Ashes. Do you know An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir, apparently. After that, Taylor picked the collected short fiction of Borges, and he and I did a video discussing a handful of those.
Sorry, I was teaching.
Yes, Gretchen was teaching. It wasn't just because she didn't want to read it. We're not going to blame her for that. No problem. The next thing we did was Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, which was a graphic short fiction collection? Yeah? Is that how you would describe that? Yeah? And then you did Angel Fall by Susan E. I got the author right. And then we ended with Skin Trade, which again Gretchen couldn't make it for because I think she was at work back at school when we were doing that video, but Taylor and I did Skin Trade by Laurel K. Hamilton.
I missed so many, by which I mean 2, but it was many out of 6. I get to talk about this massive undertaking that me, Michaela, and our guest bibliomancer, Casey, did, and we called it was a special 10-part series called Nostalgia Junkie, and we read through the Pendragon series by DJ McHale, which was one of Michaela's all-time favorite series when she was a kid, hence, Nostalgia Junkie. And so yeah, we tried to do, every week we were doing a different Pendragon book. So starting from book 1, which actually I didn't make the first episode. I think I was also teaching. I think that was a thing.
It was the same week that you were teaching.
Yeah, it was the same week I was teaching, but I made 2 through 10, and it was a really cool thing to do just because Michaela and I had read them as kids, Casey hadn't, so those different perspectives, but then reading them as adults versus being kids, and then reading a whole series, which is something we don't often do on Bibliomancy.
It's true.
So that was really, really cool, and definitely worth a watch, especially if you happen to like the books. There were some pretty intense arguments.
There were. There were indeed. And Gretchen was in the same space as me for some of those. Usually we're in different spaces for Bibliomancy since it's over the summer. But that series ended up going a little bit into our school year, so there are a couple of videos where we get to sit next to each other and talk to each other like people. Right when that finished was about the time that Gretchen and I decided we We're gonna do videos together, just the two of us, and we started Betwixt the Books, even though we've been making videos together for a long time. Before that, like, specifically separate to bibliomancy, and we started by doing some tags. So we've done 4 tag videos this year. The first 2 are the BookTube newbie tag and the Bookish Beginnings tag. I'm looking down because I have it written down. And then the second 2 were the Inside Out tags and the Unpopular Opinions tags. And we always do those in pairs of 2 so that one can go up on my blog and one can go up on Gretchen's blog so that we can cross-train you guys to, like, go to both of our stuff or just sit on the same YouTube channel because they all show up here. Whichever is easier.
And right in the middle of doing those book tags, we started this new series because we were all in the same space. And by all, I mean me, Michaela, as we've discussed, but also Taylor, that, unimportant guy from bibliomancy. And we started doing, because we're all 21, we started doing bibliomancy. So a series of once a month throughout the fall semester of us all being in the same room together, having read the same book, and having alcohol. So we've actually, because of finals and just general scheduling, we've only done 2 of those planned episodes. The first one was my pick, A Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. The second one was Michaela's pick, John Dies at the End by David Wong. And so there is a third pick. There's Taylor's pick, which we'll be doing in January, so you can look forward to that. But yeah, it's us, alcohol. We're going to have to do that one separately, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be any less funny because Taylor can't hold his alcohol, and I get giggly, and Michaela just gets confused by everything that's going on because why? But all very safe, drink responsibly, no one gets, smashed. We just get pretentious
Tipsy.
and bubbly. So yeah, look forward to The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro coming to you soon in January.
We also recently did our first discussion video, which was on the hubbub around the race-bent Hermione. So we discussed what is canon and whether or not different readings are valid, whether we should only go with what the author intended or if it's can add to a reading to change it, and sort of like what around this controversy was weird. Hopefully we can do more videos like that in the future where we talk about things that are going on in the book world, not just reviews or wrap-ups, because we're in it and love it.
So the final thing that we did that came out on the YouTube channel really, really recently was Michaela and I's new feature called 30 Seconds to Disagree. And if you follow bibliomancy for any length of time, you know that our book club works because we all have really different opinions. And so Michaela and I started 30 Seconds to Disagree to A, make shorter videos, and B, talk about some books that, we might disagree on and try and, so for my video, I did Queen of the Tearling, and for her, she did John Dies at the End, understanding that we recorded that in October before we did the Bibliomancy video, even though that video is coming out after. Yeah. So kind of awkward, but that's how life works. But so for mine, Queen of the Tearling, I had 30 seconds to tell Michaela why she should read it. She had 30 seconds to talk about why she was still like, and then I had 30 seconds to tell her why all of her fears were wrong. So yeah, and hopefully we'll be doing a few more of those because they're one of the videos that we can actually do fairly easily being apart. Because as you may have noticed, Michaela and I are no longer in the same space, and will not be for an extended period of time.
The very first video we did that year was actually a really great video. So we talked about the magicians with our book club, and it was one of the best discussions we've had so far. It also has some of the best interaction we've had so far. I think what was so great about it was that a lot of us were sort of disappointed in it. And not in that it was a bad book, but that it could have been a much better book. So it was all of us sort of critiquing and looking into what we thought was not well written or could have been done differently. And like picking that out, as well as saying all of the things that were really promising about the series.
And that book club was actually so successful, and we all really enjoyed the discussions so much that coming in January, again, will be our follow-up video to that, which is the second book in the series. Because even though we all had these really different opinions, we were all just like, what are they going to do with this? How is this going to go on? Can it go on in the way that it has? And we've also heard from people that we know and respect, that it gets, some say better, some say worse. So it's this really weird kind of, what is going on? That we're all really interested to sit down with each other and discuss. So we're gonna do a follow-up to that video, and it's gonna be great, because like Michaela said, that was one of the best discussions that we've had. Not that we ever have bad discussions, but some books you're just like, ugh, and other books you just really get into. And this one was we really thought hard, long and hard about this, and had a really great discussion with each other, bouncing off ideas. So that was really cool.
In a similar vein, one of my favorite videos of the year was our book club discussion on Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. We had a guest bibliomancer, which is Casey, who's our most common guestmancer. She comes on a lot. And I think my favorite part about that was because we had never done a graphic novel before, we were able to sort of add to the discussion. So each of us noticed different things and like saw the symbolism represented differently in the stories, and that added something to everyone's reading by discussing it. So somebody said, I didn't really like this because I didn't feel like it had a lot of depth, but another person said, no, look at all of these little details in the art. And then it changed the way that everyone read the story, rather than just everybody reading it at face value and having different readings, which is completely valid. It allowed us to discuss and sort of come to a consensus as a group, or maybe not. And I feel like that's a really great video to watch.
One of my favorite videos, I love the videos that we just lose it. And so I guess I didn't actually talk about this, so I'm gonna cheat and kind of pick two. Because I'm terrible like that. But the first bibliomancy episode that we did was hilarious. It was Daughter Spoke About by Laini Taylor, and it was a really good discussion about the book. And that was really cool to have, like, discussion of genre and the book and plot and pacing. So that was really, really good and thoughtful and stuff like that. But also, we were kind of tipsy. So at one point, like, the mic falls into the pizza we had there, and Taylor forgets how words work. And so we're all trying to be really thoughtful about this book, but we're also losing our minds. So that was really funny. And in a similar vein, that's why I really liked the Ember and the Ashes discussion, because that book, at one point, we just started cracking jokes, and we were gone. I remember not being able to breathe at a certain point in that video because I was laughing so hard. So again, really thoughtful discussion there. If you decide to go watch that, trigger warning for discussion about rape, for example. So definitely a very serious discussion, but also at certain points we were just like, nope, gotta make a joke. We're done. Goodbye. So yeah, we always have really, I don't know, we always have really thoughtful discussions, and they're always really fun. But those were two that really stuck out to me as just really, really fun and funny.
When it comes to next year and what videos we're going to be putting out, obviously we are going to be having another season of Bibliomancy over the summer. We're thinking of doing 1 month of all YA picks, because Gretchen picks YA consistently, and a lot of times they're not well edited and full of tropes that everybody's kind of tired with. So Taylor and I are both going to pick a YA book that we think sounds good, to sort of see if there are any gems hidden in that YA bubble.
We talked about doing a month of follow-ups. So talking about books that we've already done the first book in the series of, or a book by a similar author, or a book by the same author, another book. Because I think we've had some really great discussions where we've had some author context, but sometimes we do book discussions where one person has more author context than other people, and that becomes a point of contention. So I think that would be really interesting to read a next book in a series or a book by the same author, and everybody coming with the same author context of series. So I know if you think that's a cool idea, let us know, because we're still deciding about that second month, and you could choose. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, like Michaela said in the beginning, we are going to be doing individual wrap-ups. It's going to be our first set of individual videos and starting this, so support that. They'll obviously, Michaela's will be on her blog and mine will be on my blog, but I know I for one plan on doing like a big wrap-up post with all 3 of the videos in the same post. We hope that you enjoy this wrap-up, and that maybe you've heard about one of our videos that you missed that you want to go back and watch, because they are all pretty great. But of course, we've pointed you to some ones that you might want to check out, especially ones like The Magicians, where, you know, we'll be doing that follow-up video. So, you know, don't miss it. It's going to be great. And then, like we said, look forward to, starting right off in January, we have the last Bibliomancy episode for this semester coming at you with The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, the follow-up to The Magicians, and Michaela and I already have many devious plans for new videos. So it's gonna be great, and thanks for watching. We promise that in the future, these will be shorter.